Welcome to the MaYapinion podcast, a show that focuses on leadership, life, and love to empower women around the world to be the best versions of themselves. The MaYapinion podcast is a weekly show with Maya's Motivation Monday, focusing on leadership topics for women, and special edition episodes that feature guest interviews and current events. Now, all in her opinion, here is your host, Maya Roffler.
Hey guys, welcome to my anniversary episode. I cannot believe it has been 1 year exactly since I relaunched MaYapinion. I just want to thank each and every single one of you for continuing to listen to my opinion, or if you're a new listener and you found the podcast because of the shift, thank you as well. But if you have stuck with me through the change and the relaunch, that is so amazing too. And thank you so much. If you guys have been there for me during this entire time, you know that I started MaYapinion back in 2017. The history is it's funny, it's interesting, it's just kind of been a journey. I started the podcast after being on a reality dating show, which was totally crazy, totally nuts. And I didn't really want to do it. I laughed so hard thinking about it because here I am now in my, I guess you could say, 4th season, but I'm in this relaunch. And I didn't want to do a podcast. And a friend of mine at the time had been in radio for so long, and I'd known him for a very, very long time, and he told me it was a good idea. He said, you need to do this podcast, you need to tell your side of the story, you're very opinionated, you have this nickname. MaYapinion was a nickname of mine for a long time. It was a nickname that happened in my 20s. And that's how we came up with the name of the show, because of that. And he's like, tell your side, tell your opinion of what happened. I mean, it was factual about what happened. And so the show was born, and we had 3 very successful seasons. We had so many listeners and so many amazing episodes, and that was great. And I am grateful every day for that, and for him to push me to do it, because I really actually love doing it. I didn't realize that. But what I didn't realize in the moment, I guess, or when I was doing it, I didn't have the foresight or the thinking at the time that, this reality TV wasn't a passion of mine. Well, I guess I did realize that because I left the show twice. For those of you who watch the show and know me from that and have continued to listen to the podcast, and I appreciate you guys so much. I really do. It means the world to me. But I knew I didn't want to talk about reality TV forever. Trust me, I still watch it, and we can chat. So send me a DM. We can still chat about it. I do watch it. But that wasn't what I wanted to talk about. So I took a breather, and 1 year ago, I relaunched talking about what I'm passionate about. And it's obviously my opinion. I'm very opinionated, but it's talking to women that have made a great impact on this world and voicing my opinion, but most importantly, talking about leadership. And it's empowering women to be the leaders of tomorrow. And that is what I am most passionate about. And perhaps that's why I struggled going on a dating show, because I feel like that doesn't really empower women. I think that was probably like a moment of reflection, looking back on all of this, and a moment of like an aha moment. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful for every experience in my life. And I also have a very unique experience being on this show and going through that, because I went through something so traumatic and traumatizing and sad, losing my brother, which to this day, I talk about it right now and I get sad and choked up. But I want to use the platform and want to use all of these gifts and things that I've been given, and I've worked hard for as well, to give back and to give tools to women so that they can succeed and that they can be the leaders of tomorrow that they want to be and that we need now more than ever. And that's why I decided a year ago to relaunch MaYapinion and launch it about leadership, life, and love. And a big focus on leadership, of course, but leadership has, we all have a life and we all want to have love within our life. And so those are my three things underneath the umbrella of this. And that's where the brand came from. And the nickname was always there. So that's why this is, a special edition of me talking about this and a little bit of an announcement. I also want to talk about why leadership, I think I talk about why leadership is important to me so often, but where did this original core inspiration come from for me? And why am I so passionate about giving women, I give men the tools too. I do. I have men that ask me for leadership guidance too, and so I shouldn't single that out. But it just so happens that it's typically a female audience. So guys, I'll also mentor you as well. No problem. But why am I so passionate about this? Because I feel when you go through an experience yourself, you become so passionate. That's pretty simplistic, but it's true. And I remember over 10 years ago, I was actually discussing this today. I was shopping in a store and it's very nostalgic for me. And I was talking to some of these wonderful girls in the store. I'm very loyal. If you know me personally, I'm very loyal. I shop at the same stores. I've had the same guy cut my hair. I adore him. Same guy cut my hair since 2007. I wouldn't go to anybody else. I've had the same people do certain things for me for a lot. That's who I am. I'm just loyal. And so I was talking to them a little bit about my journey, and I had something hit me. And I was already prepared to talk about this on this episode and explain why I'm launching what I'm about to talk about, and why I launched this podcast a year ago, and why I knew I was going to kind of launch this business and go forward with my passion and my vision. But it's interesting sometimes when you go and you're having these conversations with people, and it's almost an out of body experience, and you're like, wow, you knew it, but you didn't. But I was talking to these wonderful young ladies, and I was telling them about my experience when I got thrust into leadership at the young age of 21, 22, right out of college. And I was holding a leader accountable for things that, that very delicate term that I talk about on other episodes on my lives, IG, TV, interviews, things that you hear me. Should is a very complicated word because it's us setting an expectation. So I, at that age too, was struggling with that, and I thought he should be doing these things, and yeah, he quote unquote should have been. Well, when I held him accountable to this, I then became the leader. And I was running this store at a very young age. I then became the youngest store manager in the entire company, and by a long shot, the youngest female ever in the company history. And I did not have the skills to be a leader. And, I had to figure it out on my own. And I think we in life, you can figure it out. You can go through the motions and figure it out. And I think that's what made me so passionate about this. And I have no regrets. And I'm so grateful for that experience. But that experience, and I didn't realize it, but I've realized it more and more lately, is what has really inspired me. Because it was kind of traumatizing, to be honest. But it's from these traumas, it's from these really difficult situations that we find our inspiration, that we find our purpose, that we realize this is what we are meant to do. And regardless of what your spiritual belief is or what you believe the world is about or whatever drives you on the day-to-day, that's what I do believe personally. God drove me to that. Like, I really do. And it was like being thrown to the wolves. I was running a store in the city, and like I had people like attack me in a retail store and fraudulent checks and all of this. And here I am, this 21, 22-year-old girl, and I'm like, what is happening? Little did I know it was preparing me to be so passionate about leadership. I had people stealing from me. I mean, crazy stuff. And there's people out there with much crazier stories, but it was preparing me for the even crazier stories I was going to go through later in life. I mean, now I look back on those stories and I'm like, oh, that was child's play compared to the leadership stories I have now. But I say all of that now to realize, I really thought, oh, I'm going to go to corporate, and I did, and I thought that was the passion, and I thought the fashion was the passion, and it still is. Trust me, you should see my closet. It's insane. But when you start to reflect back, you start to realize, and you have these aha moments, and you're like, okay, I get it now. This is what I was supposed to do. And this is why I'm now announcing 1 year later, in honor of my anniversary of the launch of the MaYapinion podcast, the relaunch, I should say. Again, I'm so grateful for you guys listening to the 3 seasons, and those of you who, watched me on reality TV. It was a totally different experience, but this is who I am. This is me, really raw. And this is me professionally and personally. And it's been a great year. And now I'm announcing the launch of the Ladies Leadership League. And I think some of you have probably seen this on social media. I've kind of done a soft announcement of it. It is a division of MaYapinion, and it's everything that I do is under MaYapinion. That's my brand. And it's focused on developing the female leaders of the future. And as you guys know too, this is like another podcast episode. Like, I'm so tired of hearing female leader. Like, we're all leaders, but female leaders of the future. That's what this is focusing on. So if you've been listening to the relaunch, you've heard me talk about some amazing women. You've heard me talk with some amazing women. I've aired special edition episodes. And of course, I talk about some really important leadership topics on Maya's Motivation Monday, which is my favorite segment. And I've talked about some really fun topics, some hard topics. I've shifted as the world has shifted. But now I'll be bringing all of this to you in the form of a community, which is something that I had an idea of and I wanted to do, but it's evolved as this podcast has evolved. And that is what the Ladies Leadership League is. And I'm beyond excited about it. Like, I'm so excited. I wake up every day so excited about it because I have worked with women one-on-one to help them become better leaders, become a leader, because some women come to me and want to work with me and they're not in a leadership position and they know they want to lead and they want to get to that level, or they're a leader and they're not effectively leading, or they don't feel like they're effectively leading, or maybe they are. Oh my God, there's so many examples. And I love the one-on-one, and I want to be clear, I'm still going to continue to do that. And that is going to be available on my website. So you can actually go to my website and schedule an interview with me to inquire about that one-on-one. But what's so exciting now is I'm creating a community for leaders. So this is a whole other ball game now, whether you're working with me one-on-one or joining the community. It's so exciting. This has been my vision coming to life. And as you probably know, this is really truly my passion. As I've been explaining, this is something, when something happens to you personally, and when you were not set up for success, and you realize that you kind of had to make your own way and figure out how to succeed and beat everything that was happening and go against the grain. I didn't know, I didn't know how to deal with certain situations. I didn't know how to be a strong leader. It was kind of trial and error for me. And then when I did have strong leaders, I soaked that information up like a sponge. I took it all in. And that's what made me a strong leader. And that's why I'm here now. This is my passion. Don't get me wrong. I still have a passion for fashion. I still have a passion for animals. You guys see all my posts about my dogs. And I am a freak about organization. I have a passion for other things. But this is truly my passion, first and foremost. Everyone who knows me very well knows that I put my people before anything else. And that's why I knew this was my calling. And when you're destined for greatness, and when you're destined for something, it calls you every single day. And I knew this, and I've known this. And I have been lucky enough to lead some of the most amazing teams, some challenging teams, but it's shown me that this is really what I'm supposed to do. And now, we're going through a really challenging time, and it's interesting because I have been leading and mentoring teams, yes, near and far, but a lot has been remotely, and I was really ahead of the curve on this. And now I'm ready to teach and mentor you as well, and that's really exciting. I'm just so excited. The Ladies Leadership League will be launching a couple programs. As I mentioned before, I've already been coaching one-on-one. I would love to coach you one-on-one if you are already a leader, you want to be a leader, you want an analysis. I do a completely complimentary one-on-one interview to see where you are in your leadership journey. That is one route to go. But the big announcement is really my 6-week course for the Ladies Leadership League. It's really exciting and kind of why I've been a little bit quiet on social media. I have been, obviously there's been a lot going on in my life, as you guys know from following me. It's been a lot, but I'm also working full steam ahead and really passionately on this. It means so much to me. I'm so passionate about this and so excited to bring this in a small group environment to you. The Ladies Leadership course, it's a 6-week course, which is pretty standard, but covering a lot of the topics that I've talked about over the past year since I launched in September of 2019 with a focus in leadership, life, and love, but obviously leadership because I believe that, having that work-life harmony that I talked about a couple weeks ago, it's so important. That's why my mantra is leadership, life, and love. It's kind of that trifecta and balance, but couple things we're going to focus on. I'll just kind of give you like the 50,000 foot like view of the class. But we're going to talk about so much and really analyze so much about your goals. But the first thing we're going to do is have an interview. You'll have a call with me one-on-one and really analyze what your goals are as a leader or as an aspiring leader. What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to do as a leader, or how do you want to become a leader? Or there's so many questions or so many things that you need to think about in that process. So that's step one. Before we even decide, if you and I both have to decide if this course is right for you, which I think is so important. I think there's so many courses out there that just say, yeah, come on in. No, it needs to be right for you, and it needs to be right for me. This needs to be right. But the course is based off of everything I've talked about on the podcast and then some, because in a year, I really can't pack in to the 30-something episodes and then my IGTVs and all of that. All of the leadership knowledge that I've gained, especially the remote knowledge that I also want to give you. So I will cover, just at a high level, your W's. I talk about your W's all the time. We're going to dive into that. We're going to talk about the 5 C's of leadership, and then a couple of the other C's, because, there's a little bit of controversy of whether it's just 5 C's or more. But in my opinion, we're going to talk about the 5 C's that I think are the 5 C's. And if you haven't seen the 5 C's that I think are the 5 C's, go back and listen to my episodes, because there's an episode for each one. We're going to talk about leadership styles. What's your leadership style? And is that really working for you? And we're going to talk about that, and we're going to really analyze that. And it's going to be based on your business. And we're going to talk about listening and how important it is to listen as a leader, and why a listening leader is the best leader. We're going to talk about communication. Communication is key in leadership, but we're going to work on your communication skills and the role play of that. And that can be a difficult week for some people, but it is the week that I think grows individuals as a leader so much. It's funny because the communication topic leaves me a little speechless, because we do these role plays and I watch these transformations happen, and it leaves me speechless. It's incredible and amazing, because it really pushes people out of their comfort zones. And I know we all see these posts on social and memes that, really success and transformation is out of our comfort zone. And I don't say that to scare you. I say that to know that you're going to be in a safe space to make that transformation. And that's really huge. We're also going to have a whole entire segment about leading during and after a crisis, and leading a team remotely, because this is something I'm an expert in. I've been doing it for over 10 years, and leading teams remotely is entirely different than if you were leading a team on the daily, going into an office in a 9-to-5, and now you're doing a Zoom every day or whatever it is, and you could have a tendency to micromanage, or now be more of a laissez-faire boss, or have that kind of leadership, tendency, or whatever it is that's going on with you. We're going to hone in on that. So I could just keep going on, but those are kind of the highlights. And then at the conclusion of the course, we will have what I'd like to call an exit interview, where you will tell me how you're feeling, what you've learned, what you still feel like you need to learn, how far you've come. And we're going to look back at your interview in the beginning and what you wanted to accomplish. And we will evaluate that. And we're going to fill in any of those holes and make sure that you leave with all those tools that you wanted to come out of this class with. because I think that's so important. It's so important. So I'm sure the question on your mind is, when will this all be released? I'll be releasing details in the next few weeks, which is so exciting for me. I can't believe a year later I'm sitting here talking about this. This is exciting. I would love for any of you who are looking to, again, here are the perfect candidates for this. If you're looking to be a leader, you're looking to move up into a management position in your company, you are looking to be a leader in your own company and you're trying to thrive, you're trying to acquire better management skills, you want to learn more about yourself, if you're trying to be a leader in any capacity and grow as an individual, this is for you. And this is also a community. This class is for you. This is about growth. And where I really specialize, guys, is really, I should say ladies, but but really where I specialize is in helping women learn how to effectively understand their leadership style and a lot of these other things I mentioned, but then also understand how to effectively lead remotely. I talk about that a lot on this podcast because I think it's really hard. It's really hard, and I've been doing it for over 10 years, and it can be very challenging. I think we have a tendency to either really micromanage or we tend to be very laissez-faire. And so we really need to understand our actual management style. And once we have a hold on our actual management style, then we can dive in and go to the next level and say, okay, how do we take that management style into a remote style? So that's another level. We're in a different world now. So that's when this will be a fit for you. And the interview is completely complimentary to see if it's a fit or not. Details will be out within the next couple weeks. Love to chat with you. If you're interested in joining the launch of the community itself, so this is a whole other thing, which I'm so pumped about because this is also my vision. There will be a Ladies Leadership League community. This is the place for women as well who are already in leadership positions, want to be leaders of tomorrow, all welcome. It's going to be a Facebook group. It's going to be a place on Instagram. It's already an Instagram handle. So at Ladies Leadership League on Instagram, please join it right now. But this is going to be an exclusive group on Facebook. So I will be showing up live once a week to discuss the topics that you guys vote on weekly. So you'll be able to ask questions for me to answer on a weekly basis. I'll do an hour live. It is going to be a paid membership. This will be launching in October. Super excited to announce that as well, because if you feel at this time that you are not ready to go through the actual 6-week course, or maybe that's not for you, but you want to be a part of the community, awesome. We have that for you too. So I'll be in there once a week going live. I'll be in there all the time answering your questions and obviously like live talking to you, which is really cool. And I really would love to have some guest speakers in there too. Spoiler alert. So if you're interested in that, you can go ahead and send me a DM. I just want to thank each and every one of you for continuing to listen, whether you started listening after you watched me on a crazy reality show and after going through one of the most traumatic things anyone can ever go through, or if you were a part of my journey 10, 11, 12 years ago and you helped me become a better leader and you inspired me to be a leader and helped me through that journey. Or if you just started listening to the podcast within the past year when I did the relaunch, whenever you started listening or whatever your story is, you're a part of my story. And I am so excited to continue this journey with you. I am elated that I am launching the Ladies Leadership League, and I cannot wait to see you join the community. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you there.
Thank you so much for listening to the MaYapinion podcast. You can catch up on past episodes on the MaYapinion podcast website at www.mayapinionpodcast.com, as well as read the MaYapinion blog and contact Maya directly with your questions. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at MaYapinion Podcast and Maya Roffler. We'll see you back here next week.